Thank you very much, a freak. Our series is tied up. We have a series 1-1 now. ROX, strike it back big. Here's the thing. I feel like we can skip over Champion Select because nothing really interesting happened there. Am I right?
I mean, we have more than a series. That was by far my favorite game of the entire tournament right there. There's so many highlights. Before we even get to Prey, I mean, there was Peanut styling on Bang with the basically making a flinch and arcane shifting first, then connecting it. I mean, there's so many great ROX moments in this. Smeb also, huge play.
Oh, what a beast in this game. What a beast. There's so many players from ROX just performing. It looked kind of crazy, you know, suddenly in the end they're caught left and right, but the communication then is top-notch and they managed to actually even win the whole thing.
But the elephant in the room is the Misfortune support. A lot of people now questioning whether they should play solo queue tonight, seeing Gorilla win a game on Misfortune support. Big takeaway point, it's a laning choice. It's to lane against Zyra. It's to punish Zyra's range, because of course Make It Rain has a very long range. And the moment they hit level 6, target selection was easy. The flash is down on the Zyra, just Ash Arrow the Zyra, combo in, Wombo, dead, and that was just what they did. They tried to lead the game, and as the casters were hitting so often, this was definitely mid-game or bust for ROX Tigers.
And the best part is that not only do they pick this, but they play around it with everything they have. Multiple double teleports down to the bottom lane to make this MF support work and make it work well. That's why the summoners kept being down. Smeb was down there. Kuro was down there. I mean, Kuro was just like, I don't want to play against Faker. I'm out of here. I'll take teleport and play a support.
He's like, take my tower as well. Just, you know, you're gonna be a carry. I'm just gonna build full support on this karma, and that's fine. The other thing about this MF thing, like, it's because we have this meta where you can just play 2v2 lane all the time. People don't even lane swap after 5-6 minutes anymore because they learned it's just too risky. You lose your tower too often, so it's always full laning phase, setup dives. Their build, however, was even more surprising. So he went obviously standard support at first, and then he actually went AP first, and then he went into Mortal Reminder as his first item. So he wanted to buff up his ulti, which is physical damage, obviously, with as much armor penetration as possible. Going Mortal Reminder, though, was completely useless because there was almost no armor on the side of SKT, and he actually went for flat penetration later. Swap them, please. Go flat penetration first. Take your Mortal Reminder later. It has more value for you.
One of that executioner is calling for 3 people.
Expert analysis on Misfortune support.
But let's not get into the game elements of it. And let's not forget that Peanut, who was struggling in game 1, getting completely out-jungled by Bengi, this time around gets that first blood in the top lane with a very, very, very patient counter gank.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that we did mention coming into this, and one of the big strengths of Peanut, was the mental aspect of jungling that he does bring to it, right? He attempts a lot more counter ganks than we highlight. We only highlight the ones that are successful, but there's so many times where he moves into position to wait a couple seconds, you know, recalls there, or makes a feint somewhere on the map where he's setting these up. And when they do hit like this, it's such a huge advantage that they get.
And Smeb, you have to also give credit to him. His bluff, you know, the amount of time he spent there. SKT bought a hook, line, and sinker. They went all in. The Ghost was already down. Olaf walks in. They checked the second brush, and the penalty was pretty severe because Smeb, one lane, got out of lane, and okay, the matchup later gets not great for the Rumble. You know, he was struggling in the 1v1, but the teleport plays were really critical for ROX Tigers to win this game.
It's also against the Rift-Held Echo, obviously. And I know now the bot lane is going to get a lot of the fame because of the MF and the arrow in the end from Prey. But honestly, this game, to me, early game, was like Smeb and Peanut being better than Duke and Blank. And that was something we highlighted earlier coming into this, how important it is for ROX for those two guys to perform, to win early on.
All right, time to get into some fights. 15 minutes in, a 4-for-0 for ROX Tigers around the Dragon Pit. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Yeah, this fight was so crazy because SKT actually doesn't have vision, and look at your minimap, guys. Ezreal is at the tier 2 bot lane tower, so SKT are not in a position to fight this, and they TP in anyway. Faker gets caught first because he has no vision in that top bush. They actually walked in completely blind into the river. And this is not a mistake we see from SKT very often, and they got punished for it.
Yeah, what was so surprising about that is that SKT, ahead of that, they also had the opportunity to set it up. You know, they had taken this mid turret, they had teleport advantage, and yet they were caught out because the ROX were pushing the tempo so quickly.
And that's why you have to talk about Duke a bit. He had the TP advantage, like you mentioned, Kobe, and then Smeb walks down bot, overheats in the face of the Victor, who he kind of had a free lane. Kuro spent more time out of lane than in lane after about the first 5 minutes. And Smeb soloing down 2 members. was really critical there.
It really was, because the Victor was getting really far ahead. Since Kuro was leaving lane with that teleport and playing the support Karma, you know, Faker was racking up the gold, but Smeb stood up and he was able to take him at that critical dragon fight. I mean, he wants to take that #1 spot, and that was a pretty good display.
Of course, we cannot forget that period of struggle for ROX Tigers until that point where they needed to make a decision. That's exactly what they did. Made a decisive call around the Baron. Let's go ahead and take another look. Brought to you by Acer.
I mean, they have to take the Baron here. That's the big call. They had the mid-game items, even third item, Ludens from the Karma. They had no thoughts of taking it 45 minutes. This is the one period they chunked out Faker. That's why he's still not at the fight. Good target selection. They take down the Olaf first. They get the Baron. It still wasn't guaranteed here for ROX Tigers.
And now probably Smithy started screaming like a little girl when this happened.
I mean, Prey is such a man to flash straight back into the fight. No one thought. Everyone was like, why is he not walking towards the Baron wall to flash over? No. Repositions. DPS is down. Faker even gets bang on the side as well.
Yeah, you wanted to wait till a little bit later into the game to start giving credit to Prey. He totally deserves the late game.
But we don't have to wait on this segment. Let's give credit to him right now. That arrow was insanity.
The arrow was so good. Also, the first part of the Baron fight where he takes down Blake. Oh, so many things. But here's the hawk shot first. He scouts and then he shoots the arrow. Now, originally, Echo was recalling, canceled it and wanted to get there quicker, changed to teleport, and it just barely gets there in time.
And just to give you guys context, it's not the first time he did that this season. Won another game in the LCK regular season. Ashe arrowing down and stopping a teleport. This guy's calculation, one of these Season 1 Ashe players, they don't miss arrows, and he won the game literally on an arrow to stop a TP.
And you can just see in games like these, like why it's so hard to beat these insanely good Korean teams. Like this game here, ROX Tigers, they never threw away the lead. They just kept the goal lead at all times. The Baron setup we saw just before, we've seen so many Baron steals in this tournament. So many times teams, they mess it up when the jungler flies in to steal that Baron away from them. They just disengage at first, single out the man, kill him, then Prey as the big play after, and he has the arrow as well. Like, they're making so many insane plays built around both individual skill and communication. And it just shows why these teams are impossible to beat for anyone else, but honestly, each other.
I mean, there's some games where you're on the desk, you're watching the game, you know, you're taking your notes, you're quiet, it's a quiet game. We were hooting and hollering all around.
Screaming.
This was an insane game, straight from the misfortune pick till the 34 minutes of the game. It was a delight.
Prey killed the Olaf that was coming in for the smite. Prey then dodged the Zyra roots that was the main CC. He chased off the backline and then flashed over to kill Faker. Yeah, he definitely deserves a lot of credit.
I feel like notes go out the window after this game. But it's all tied up at 1-1. And when we come back, it's game 3 between SKT and ROX Tigers. Stick around.
This is an insta-locked misfortune.
Support MF. It is support MF.
Yep. Karma mid.
Karma mid. This means 3 pushing lanes, absolute power. Early game. Ashe arrow.
Arrows land on the Wolf, and it's just going to be too much damage too fast.
Rumble cut Faker.
Break secured, and wow, Faker's just going to die at the outset. Only one knocker from the Strength of Thorns and Prey with a nice flash gets away from the Echo. Juke is out of this one. Wolf also going to burn down. It's Smeb just on a killing spree on this one.
Nice!
Prey dodging away from the CC, but he could get back. He could get shut down, but he trades it back, and Prey stays alive. Duke makes the big play, shuts down the AD carry.
ROX doesn't actually have to stop pushing right now. They can delay the recalls. The Ashe arrows. Look at the arrow. Get teleport.